Swervo, ay. Swervo, 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 Swervo.
Herbo, it's a pleasure. I'm a huge fan. I want to say I'm from Chicago, but I'm from the suburbs. But I still want to say I'm from Chicago.
No, you from Chicago, man. Chicago's the biggest, third largest city in the world because of that. Because you got to count the suburbs and the outskirts.
Right.
Chicago, even being from the it's no place like being from here. So you got to say you from
All right,
Chicago.
I'm from Chicago. I'm a huge fan. This is self-made. This is all about you doing it on your own, you making it. And the key for me is, where did it begin? You're from where in Chicago, and who's your family?
I'm from the east side. Well, they call it the south side, South Shore area, but we call it the east side because it's way east. It's facing the beach, Lake Michigan, you know. So I'm from the east side area, 75th, 79th Street. I grew up on 75th and Kingston, 79th and Kingston. I'm from a two-parent household. My mom and dad been together since my dad was 19. I think my mom was 16. They got married probably like 10, 15 years down the line.
Did you have other siblings?
I have a younger sister. My sister's 16.
Just you two?
Mhm.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. You know, and I grew up really living with my grandmother also. It was all us in one household. So it was me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my grandmother, and my aunt all living in an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment.
Your aunt is your mother or
My
father's
mother's
side?
sister.
Mother's sister.
Mm-hmm. My mother's sister.
What was that like?
It was unique. It was fun. You know, it taught me a lot. It taught me to be, you know, independent. Cause my aunt, and then I had my mom. My mom has 2 sisters. So my grandmother, she had 3 kids. It's my mom. She's the oldest, and then she has 2 younger sisters. You know, and one of my aunts she has kids. So you know, our cousins used to come over, spend a night, and you know, we used to get in fights. It just taught me how to be independent and, you know, early, you know, and have responsibility. We had to clean up after ourselves. It was so many of us, you know, so we had to, I guess, fend for ourselves early, you know, and I think it kind of made me mature. Also, I was the youngest until I had my sister. I ain't have my mama had my sister when I was about 7. So I was the youngest. I was growing up around all my older cousins, learning, seeing more. I had to be smart. I don't know, it kind of molded me for life early.
Granted, I'm much older than you. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. And I look at myself and say, I'm the product of 3 people who learned their lessons before me.
Exactly.
So I feel
you
in
didn't have
sense
to
of
make the mistakes
Correct.
that they did.
Correct.
Right, and more so me too. You know, I had to, and I was just gonna say that me seeing what they were going through, and they would kind of mold me for, like my cousins, they'd get into fights or whatever, and make me run all the way down the block, so I don't have to, you know what I'm saying, get hurt or anything happen to me. And just those type of, you know, scenarios just help me be smart and calculate my movement, you know what I'm saying, growing up. And without them, because by the time I got to 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they were already in high school, graduating and going to college. So I really had to grow up and be a man on my own, literally, you know. So
Where did music become an influence for you?
Music has been in my family for a long time. My uncle, he passed away. His name was K-Tone. He's from Chicago also, and he worked with Twista, Do or Die, Common, those kind of artists back in like the early '90s and stuff like that. And I was born in '95, you know, so
Oh God,
I was
you're young.
yeah, I was born in '95. So when I was growing up, probably 5. From maybe 1 to 8, 7, I'm seeing like, you know, Twista, Do or Die, Traxter, those kind of guys around. So music already like was a part of my life, but I was just into sports. I always knew how to rap too for some reason. I was just always like silly and goofy.
Why do you
knew how
think
to
that?
rhyme.
Where do they come from?
I don't know, maybe and I was smart. You know, I was smart. I always read a lot of books growing up. You know, I knew how to read at an early age. I don't even know how old I was, but my mom would tell you I always knew how to read.
What did you
early.
like
I was
reading?
in gifted classes. I love Dr. Seuss books or just any books. I used to read urban novels when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why I'm so mature. Also, I used to read like urban novels and stuff that was probably like way ahead of my time when I was in high
Anybody
school. and grammar
introduced you
school.
to the books? Anybody?
Yeah, my cousin actually used to work at a library. My cousin, one of my first cousins, actually my oldest first cousin, is named Jeffrey. He used to work at a library, and I used to go to work with him when I was younger. So I just was bored. I'd read books, you know. I always was smart. I was in gifted classes and stuff like that in grammar school, so I always knew how to like put words together. I was always like goofy, funny, like the rhyme, but I never took it serious because I was playing sports, you know. But I was always kind of gifted when it came to like music and wordplay all my life, and I wasn't shy either though. Like when I was younger, I was just watching like old videos. I used to perform at like my auntie's weddings and stuff like that, like rap for 'em and sing songs and dance.
But what does that mean? What does it perform?
Like they would make me, I would be the center of attention. I would go in the middle of the dance floor and I would recite whatever song, whether it's Usher or whatever song they made me sing, Puff Daddy, whatever was my favorite song at the time. And I probably was only like 3 years old, you know, like literally my whole family sitting around watching me perform and rap. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I was always just destined to do this. They ain't never think I was going to be a rapper.
Can you? And I got my own father here right now. Can you appreciate the fact that your parents or your family in general supported you?
Well, and the crazy part about it, yeah, you know, family is always your biggest support system, you know, and you got to appreciate family. And you can never take family for granted because you always going to have family and they always going to be there for you. But when I, like, decided to rap and when I chose, like, rap to be, you know, what I wanted to do with my life, I was in the streets too, kind of, you know, so I didn't really have like the support from family because I wasn't around my family as much. I came from a 2-parent household. My parents still together to this day, but I was never home. I was always in the streets, and then I wasn't making the right decisions, you know, to really take rap seriously. So they didn't even take me serious. Like they didn't think that I was gonna be this, you know, successful or had the tools to really, you know, take it serious because I was a knucklehead, getting in trouble, stuff like that. So they didn't really want me to rap because they thought it was going to lead me to destruction, you know, self-destruction just by the path that I was going down.
But I think that's important. They thought that that world was a bad world for you to be
just
in?
for, you know, loving me. But I mean, it was because I was in the streets and I was rapping about what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis, you know, and I had to mature. I was young and having to fend for myself at an early age and going through things that people who 25, 26, 30 years old not going through, you know. So my family, they seeing it firsthand, so they didn't want me to go down that path, but rap saved me. It was a way for me to kind of like get everything off my chest, you know. It was like a diary for me to clear my head and just let out all the stress and everything I'm seeing and going through.
What age do you think you saw where you lived was a reflection on who you were?
Man, probably about 12, 13.
You knew the environment you lived in?
Yeah. Because around that age, you seeing firsthand, like I had to really, and I didn't understand. I had a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old mind state. You know, I was not mature how I was. So I already understood what I was up against and what type of world I was in. And I knew I had to bring myself into that world in order to survive it. But I didn't know you had to have tools or just possess certain tools to maneuver and get out of that world also. You know, at that time, I was trying to just survive but stay in that world. You can't survive if you stay in that world because eventually it's going to catch up with you. You're going to end up either dead or in jail. You know, you got to remove yourself from that environment.
But I don't know. Maybe it's a Chicago thing because it's so in the news. It's so on topic. How did you, at 12, 13, how do you see that? How do you know that you're living in a world that's different from everybody else's?
I don't know. I mean, I saw it, but I couldn't really understand it as much as I can now that I've seen the world and seen other places because I wasn't traveling then. But I knew just by situations, you know, like seeing or hearing about so much violence, you know, and seeing it firsthand, seeing people get shot and people die firsthand at 12, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was normal to me. I thought this was just, okay, this is life. This is the world
life,
we
yeah.
live in. You know, I thought it was normal. So at that point, I was accepting this is what I'm up against. You know what I'm saying? And this is my reality. But I didn't know that this wasn't everyone else's reality. You know, I didn't know this is, if you live in Skokie or whatever, I didn't know that your reality
This
was
is
different
different
from
than
my reality.
correct.
You know,
When did music kick in for you?
I took music serious when I was about, well, I say I started doing music seriously when I was about 16, 17.
And serious means what?
Going to the studio, you know, really recording inside of a studio, because I started rapping over a cell phone, like 60-second videos with the beat, the voice memos, you know. So taking it serious to me was going to the studio like on a daily basis, you know, really recording music. I met Mickey Halstead and my other partner, JB, and, you know, really starting to take music seriously as a professional, even though I was young, just not getting out of high school, you know, still in the streets and trying to, you know, be loyal to other things, you know, other than music and myself.
Forget high school.
Right.
When did music become like a passion for you, in the sense of hearing somebody that makes an influence on you?
Around when I was in high school, I actually stopped. I had to stop going to high school because of music. I was doing music, making a name for myself, and it was just too much. You know, it was becoming dangerous. People starting to see me at school. Like, I was really becoming like kind of a local Chicago celebrity, you know, and I was taking it serious. I had a passion for music. I always grew up loving Joel Santana's and Jay-Z's and the Waynes. I always had a passion for music. That's why my music was always a reflection of me and who I am, because of those guys. They talked about their life and what they going through and what they want to be 5-10 years from now versus what they were 5-10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what my music reflects from me as a person, and I get that from the people that I looked up to.
Did you think you had a talent in the sense of whether it's the lyrics or whether it's the music? Did you think you had something that to share?
Yeah, I did. That's one thing about, I didn't always know what it took or how would I get to this point, but I always felt like I was destined for this. I always felt I was destined to do music and destined to be here and in front of you one day, you know.
But who? It's so hard
And
for
it's
someone like
crazy.
me. You need support.
Yeah.
You need people around you. You
Yeah.
need people seeing. Who was that?
Growing up, where I come from, it was just my friends, my peers. I didn't really have the support from family. I couldn't go to my mother, my father, and get support and say, yeah, I'm trying to rap or do this, because I was talking about stuff they didn't understand, you know what I'm saying, and stuff they probably didn't even want for me.
Did they listen?
Yeah, I think they listened. They listened.
What was the reaction to what you were rapping about?
My mom, she just knew my reality. She knew I was rapping about my reality. So she was more so from a stay safe perspective, you know, just stay safe. I know you're doing the right thing. And I was always independent on my own. I started taking care of myself early. So she was really just telling me, like, I don't know, just make the best of it. However you gonna do, you a man, just make the best of it. Stay out of trouble. That was always her perspective from it, because she knew I was talking about my reality. I wasn't more so just cussing, oh yeah, rapping and disrespecting women and
When
like
when
that.
you were in school, did people respect what you're doing?
Yeah,
Why do you know? Well, why?
because it was authentic. It was genuine. Like, it was me. They knew me as a person. They knew I am a good person. I always, you know, I have a good heart, and and my music reflects me and my life and what I'm going through, my reality. Like, by the time I was 17, I had already lost 10, 15 close friends that I'm hanging with on a day-to-day. So my music was just reflecting my reality, what I'm going through, you know, police brutality, stuff like that, you know, just growing up and not knowing if you're going to see tomorrow, today, not waking up knowing if you're going to live to see tomorrow, and accepting it, knowing it's your reality and accepting it. That's what my music was, and they respected it because it was genuine. It's true to me.
Do you think that, because it's hard for me, someone like me, it's terrible to say, to appreciate that? Do you think the people that hear your music get what you were going through?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
For sure.
Why?
It touched them. I know for sure. I'm 100% sure that my music touched the people the way that I want them to, because they tell me, it reflects on me. I hear people come and tell me I helped them get through what they were going through. They may have lost a brother. I heard people say they lost their sister, their grandmother, their best friend, and my music helped them get through it. It helped them stay strong and keep their head up and understand what come with life. And I have to maneuver through these situations so it don't overtake me. So I don't be in this situation. I gotta keep a strong head, a strong mind, and focus on how I'm gonna get out of this situation. And her music helped me do that.
Do you think, we're jumping ahead, but do you think a sense of responsibility?
Yeah.
Do you feel it?
Yeah, I feel like I am the voice for the people. It is my responsibility to give back and help people. And I know this is off subject, but I learned something when I had got into an incident. Everyone knows I had went to jail. I went to jail. I got the incident, and I went to a class because I just try to feed my mind by any means. I went to a class I was reading. Somebody told me it's not about when you die or however, people always say, yeah, you a legend or whatever. What did you do? Can every person, without anybody knowing, you don't have to be a celebrity, anything. When you die, can you say, I did something to change one person's life, or I made a difference to make the world better in any way? Can you say that when you die, if you die today? And I felt like I could. I felt like I helped people get through situations. I felt like if I die today, I can literally be comfortable with myself and happy and say I made the world.
Did you learn that
I made a
after or
difference in the
before?
world somehow.
Did you know that after or before?
When I heard it, I kind of felt it right then. Like I can say I did that. I didn't ever think of like that before I heard it. So after, I would say.
I look at it, and when I see Chicago, and you hear everything on the news and see everything on the news, to me, I look at you and I think, oh my God, what a tremendous sense of responsibility. Here's a person who is known, who's becoming known, who everyone in the city knows who you are. What's that like? In the sense of just knowing that people are looking at you saying, either I'm going to be like him, or what's he doing next?
Right.
What's that like?
It feels good. It's like you said, it's a big responsibility because you have to set example. I always, and the thing with me is, especially that I'm a father, and even before I was a father, I always wanted to set a good example for the kids, the youth, because that's the future. Like I'm 22 now, but I was just 16, 15, and I know my mindset was totally different. And if I had somebody right now with the mindset I had now to tell me when I was 15, 16, I would have been a lot better off by now, so I try to just shine that light as much as I could.
Do you remember the point where someone came up to you for the first time and said, I know who you are?
I can't say I remember the first time, but I can say I remember the feeling. It was crazy. I almost didn't like it because I'm not used to attention. I'm not really used to
Why?
people. I don't know. I'm not shy. I wouldn't say I'm shy, but just I guess the way I grew up. Just the way I was brought up in the streets. You just never wanted to be in the spotlight. Just everybody know you. Everywhere you go, you don't know this person, but they know you. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get used to it. It's not a bad thing at all, but it's just something you got to get used to.
Yeah. Do you think music, because I can imagine it affects me when I do, in the sense of, can I do better? Can I do more? Can I get the audience to appreciate me more?
For sure.
Do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, all the time. And I always felt like it's always something I could be better at all the time. Like right now, my main focus is my shows. I'm just trying to become a much better performer, and I know I can. I know that's one area in my music where I could improve tremendously. So why not focus on
Do you think a song I listen to, which I love, which is Kill
Thanks, man.
Does that for you the impetus for where you are today? Was that the beginning of something?
Yeah, definitely. I
Why?
definitely would say it was the beginning of something special because it was more so a song that made a statement naturally. Like we didn't know when we dropped it that it was gonna get this much national attention, but it made a national statement. It was getting tweets from Kevin Durant, Drake, Waka Flocka. That's how I met Nicki Minaj from that song. She came and reached out and told me personally she came and reached out because the Kill song influenced her to do the Chirac song. So it was definitely a crazy turning point for me and Bibby career, I'm sure.
What do you think your talent is?
My talent, I wouldn't even, I mean, of course, rap, but I wouldn't say rap is my talent. Like, I think just me being able to really touch people, because you could rap, you could be able to rap, but I think the effect that I have on people may be my talent. Like, even when people may prejudge me, of course, people always gonna have some type of perception of me in their head just from hearing my music. And then when they meet me, it may be the totally opposite of what they may think of me. You know what I'm saying? So I just think the effect that I leave on people, and it could last an entire lifetime. You know, I may not see people for years to come.
Do you think, I guess, let's put it in perspective. When was it that you felt like I'm somebody?
I don't know. I mean, I gotta always feel like it because the way I move and just, you know, just the way I think. But I never really had that point where I'm like, oh, I guess that's the humble side of me kicking in because I always want to go further. I'm always challenging myself to be better every day. I want to be just as good as Nas and Hov. That's who I compare myself to. Like,
Yeah.
not my peers.
Why them?
Because those, I mean, why not? I mean, you know, Hov has changed the music culture in so many ways. He's a $1 billion brand himself. You know, he's from the streets. I always compare myself to people who come from exactly what I come from and made something totally different from it, because that's what I'm trying to do.
Do you really think he comes from the same place you do?
Not the same place, but he come from the type of environment. I know he come from negativity. He come from a bunch of peer pressure. I know it was a bunch of obstacles that he had to overcome to get to where he's at, for sure. I'm 100% positive. So that's what I try to, it motivate me to do the same thing, because I know it's a bunch of obstacles that I've already overcome, and I'm not even halfway to where I want to be in life.
When I think of the XXL freshman class, there's some great artists on there. Do you feel the pressure?
Yeah, of course, especially from my peers, because right now I'm amongst a lot of talented artists. So for sure, a lot of talented artists, and it's a lot of money to get out here. Everybody getting richer, everybody recording more music, so it's always pressure. But just the way I grew up and the way I think, I can't focus on that. I gotta focus on me, because the moment I start feeling like, oh, damn, he been getting too much attention, he making too much music, or he going too crazy, that's when I'm gonna really fall off. If I'm going crazy while he going crazy, we both moving. I can't be moving if I'm looking, stopping, trying to see how fast you moving, you know. So that's one thing I don't focus on. But it is pressure for sure, because music is changing. Music is changing. You could become a star like that.
From my perspective, it's tough because I look at you when I say it's tough. I feel like maybe you don't see this, but from an outsider thinking of Chicago and thinking all the issues it has, it's on you. Really, because you're somebody.
Yeah, I like you kick it to me like that too, man. I like that you kick it to me like that, bro. It's on me, and that's crazy you say that, because I feel responsible for the youth when 14-year-olds go out and kill each other, and it's 8-year-olds getting killed and women getting killed in cars. I feel responsible for it. Honestly, I feel bad, and I want to tell people this is not the way to live. This is not the way. I don't know if I influenced you. I don't know if my music influenced you, but just growing up the way we grew up, we understood you get out of life what you put in. It's not just gladiator mode, the wild, wild west. Like, I don't want Chicago to look bad like that. Chicago's always been a violent city. We've had Al Capones, we had the Jeff Forts, the Larry Hoovers, we had organized crime since forever. It's never been this kind of negative light shine on Chicago because I feel like there is no leadership. There is nobody to say, hey, let's love each other. Let's try to build the youth. Let's try to give jobs to our families. You know, let's start having black-owned businesses. You know, like my partner just said, I really wasn't gonna touch on these subjects, but I am trying to rebuild my neighborhood. We are building multimedia facilities on the south side of Chicago to give back to people who do want to do music, and producers and videographers, and people who just want to perfect their craft and get out of the streets, because we had it to an extent when I was growing up, but it was canceled by the time I was a freshman, sophomore in high school. When we really needed it, it was over with already. We didn't have after-school programs and AAU basketball teams for kids to really be out of the streets and have something productive to do and jobs to be able to provide for their families. Because if you provide for your family and able to take care of people, you got people depending on you, it make you not want to go do negative things to risk your freedom. That's what changed me. That's what saved my life, music. When I was able to take care of my mother, put her in the house, I knew she needed me to pay rent every month. Now she depended on me. My sister depended on me. And I got my community depending on me. Because believe it or not, when my homies and people go to jail, people die, I got to pay for the funerals in those areas. Like, people, I may not be in touch with my neighborhood for months, but when somebody pass away, they come in to get in contact with me because I got to pay for the funeral. So I am actually responsible for all of this. But I feel like let's just change the entire thought process so it won't be any murders, so it won't be no unnecessary killing, so it won't be no more people living in poverty. We got black-owned businesses. We got stores in the neighborhood. We got landscaping companies because I'm buying buildings in my area and giving jobs to the felons and the people who got a bad past, who can't really change and better their life now, and they able to take care of their family, and there's no time to kill, go out and rob, and go do negative things. I am trying to do this with my music, but I'd rather let it be seen than said, you know? I'd rather just really
I think.
go out and do it.
How old are you?
22.
Dang. I wish I was. Your knowledge base, what you're saying, what you're spewing, what you're doing, God bless. This is beyond
Thanks, Brett,
self-made.
man.
This is about.
Thanks, man.
It's not just self-made. It's about you giving back to everybody. And dang, I cheers to you.
Man, thanks.
Cheers.
Appreciate it, Brett.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. I'm just happy to be here, man.